Wow, this must be the original gate to this place. Look at that, the SS emblem. Really creepy.
This is the site of a terrifying secret program created by Himmler himself, known as Lebensborn.
I'm James. Very nice to meet you.
Gisela Heinrich was a product of this program. What happened to her was so traumatizing that she is now a family therapist.
This was the first Lebensborn home. The institution was founded by Himmler in '35, and then he built the first and the biggest home here.
It's a legacy she has been forced to live with her entire life.
The Lebensborn program was actually Nazism and racial theory put into practice. It was essentially a breeding program for members of the SS to impregnate someone who was statuesque, blonde, looked very much the kind of wholesome woman that Nazis so liked. The idea was to breed as many perfect Aryan specimens as you could. Why? Because it was felt that that type of human being was better than a human being from another racial group. It was as simple as that. It was pure racism.
Heinrich Himmler took a special interest in the program. He ensured the mothers were screened for their racial suitability. It's even believed he considered himself the godfather of any child born on his birthday. And he ordered all SS officers to procreate for the nation, with a minimum of 4 children each.
And if you didn't have 4 children?
He could have illegitimate children out of the marriage.
Right.
Because he said, we can't spoil this precious German blood.
So the Nazis were selecting people to come here based on racial characteristics.
Yeah, exactly. But definitely it was the other side of Holocaust.
And there's a dark reality to Gisela's intimate knowledge of these events.
My mother was a tall blonde woman and my father was a tall blonde SS officer.
On my mission to determine where Heinrich Himmler ranks in Hitler's hierarchy of evil, I'm meeting with Gisela Heinrich to learn more about his racist breeding program called Lebensborn.
So what was it like for you finding out that your father was an officer in the SS?
It was horrible. I don't want to be produced by a man who killed others. I felt suicidal.
Really?
Really.
Gisela was born after her mother had an affair with a married SS officer. Himmler encouraged all his officers to do this, to produce as many Aryan offspring as possible. He set up Lebensborn homes to house SS babies all across Nazi-held Europe. Some 8,000 illegitimate children were born in Germany and another 12,000 in Norway. But after the war, those children had to grow up with the stigma of their birth.
The teacher in front of the whole class asked me, there's something wrong in your file. There is no name of your father. What's the name of your father? I said, I don't know. And the whole class was roaring of laughter. So this was the first time I realized that something was really wrong with me.
So what's it like to see this place?
It's shame and fear and how could they do this? How could they try to produce special people who should in the future represent Germany? Yeah. And this makes me sad. Feeling guilty because I really feel I'm part of this whole system.
Aryan breeding may have been the program's primary focus, but Himmler took it even further.
The Lebensborn program wasn't just there for SS men to impregnate ideal Germanic women. It was also in the business of child kidnap. So when the Nazis took over various territories, you would have SS employees who would look around these villages and towns in places like Poland and the Ukraine and look, oh, there's a blonde child, a proper Aryan. So we'll just take him from his parents, take him back to Germany, give him a German name, make him fostered by a nice German family, and that's another Aryan to add to the mix. It was an absolutely evil thing to do.
There were more than 200 children here.
More than
they
200 children here?
Yeah, they put all the children in here who they collected from the other homes. Lebensborn is one of the whole horrible mixture of the criminality of Third Reich. And there was nothing good about it.
One of the hardest things to understand about Nazis is their sense of right and wrong. Many of them truly appeared, at least, to believe that their atrocious behaviors were, in fact, right, were justified.
The idea of this place is so absurd. Himmler created the Lebensborn program in an attempt to create this mythical Aryan master race. Yet Himmler himself looked nothing like the tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed ideal he and the Nazis were obsessed with.